If you've torn your quadriceps muscle or tendon, then this video is for you. So a viewer of one of my other videos just asked me for help with a torn quad muscle. First, thank you so much for watching my videos. I'll leave a link to the video that they mentioned above. And second, I'm here for you, I appreciate you, and I want to help you succeed. So I am here to try to help you avoid problems down the road. Now, while this video is about the quadriceps muscle and tendon, it could apply to many other muscles and tendons in the body. So it would be worth your time to watch through to understand the mechanism of how muscles repair themselves, which is truly amazing, as well as pick up some tips on management that I've learned the hard way over 21 years of practice. If that sounds good, let's begin. Muscle tissue tears are some of those injuries that can become chronic if poorly managed. So it's important that we get it right from the beginning. The process is very complex. There's lots going on, but we're going to simplify it into 3 distinct phases. First phase is destruction. This triggers the inflammatory response. When an injury is fresh, there's pain, there's swelling, there are torn fibers, and your body jumps into gear to bring resources to the site of injury to try to start to create a new repair. Think of this climbing rope. When this climbing rope is in good condition, it can withstand forces. It can withstand tremendous forces repeatedly over and over again. However, when this rope is damaged, it cannot handle those forces anymore. They literally are broken. What was a tube is now 2 parts. How those 2 parts grow back together again to become strong enough to handle a load is truly a miracle. It is incredible. Once we're through the inflammatory stage, we're into a stage called regeneration. And this is really where the healing begins in earnest. We have the 2 ends of all of those little tiny myofibrils, all of those little tiny motor units, and they are held together basically with early immature scar tissue. Our body has made a little bit of scar tissue that is holding the ends of our fibers together. This is the time of your recovery where too much motion or getting after it too soon is the main problem. What we need in this stage is we need scar formation. We need early connection between those torn fibers. And you'll do that by immobilizing that part of your body for a while, using a splint, using tape, by whatever method we want a start of scar formation. During that next stage of regeneration, that scar is going to get thicker. We're going to see more scar development as these fibers knit together. And imagine there's a gap between the fibers and scarred tissue is filling that gap. Over the course of this phase, the scar shrinks, and as it shrinks, it pulls those fibers together. Towards the ends of this, the fibers may be very close to one another. They may be practically contacting each other, but there is still a layer between them that separates them, and this is a vulnerable spot. Too much motion too quickly or too forcefully can easily disrupt those fibers. So the 2 problems we see are disruption or the formation of a thick, unwieldy scar. Either of those problems can lead to problems down the road because scar tissue does not have the same flexibility that your healthy tissue has. So we want to avoid that by using very guarded mobility in those first few days to a week, week and a half, longer if it's a bigger, more serious injury. And then as we progress through the regeneration phase, we need to apply motion. This is where it becomes a little bit tricky and almost counterintuitive. This is the stage where mobility and early motion will actually begin to develop a flexible scar, which is the goal of this regeneration period. I want a flexible, movable scar. And yet, in this stage, those fibers are still not strong enough to handle load. So in stage 2, motion is the key. This is what we want. We want range of motion exercises. Move that part of your body, bend and straighten your knee, but don't start doing intense strength exercises yet. In this stage, it's relatively easy because pain will be your guide. It's a stage where pain is often found if we do too much or if we load it a little bit too much. So the main thing to avoid are just doing big, silly things. Don't go water skiing on your quad muscle tear 3 weeks after. How long it takes to get through this stage varies on how severe the injury is. In general, I'll wait a minimum of 3 weeks, but it may take 6 weeks, it may take 8 weeks, it could take 12 weeks even to get all the way through, depending upon how severe the injury is. Once we're through that regenerative phase, we are into maturation. This is when all those little fibers are beginning to thicken and they're becoming mature, strong, and healthy tissue. They can accept load, they can be explosive, they can be powerful, they can do all the things that you need. Is it scar tissue in there? Yes, and it always will be, but it can be functional scar tissue. And that is ultimately our goal. Let's move on to the exercises for the quadriceps. I have 4 exercises that I've chosen. I like this 4th set of exercises because they're simple, you can do them at home, and they contain the ingredients you need to help your muscle tear recover fully. So here are some key tips. One, it can take longer than you think. So you've got to be patient. Your body is doing something incredible and it takes the time that it needs. There are a lot of complex factors and many variables. How good is your sleep? Are you stressed out at work? What's your diet like? What's your physiology? Are your joints and tendons too flexible or are they too tight? All of these things can impact how you heal and recover. So be patient, give your body the time it needs. 2, progress can be bumpy. It's not always smooth and linear. Expect some bumps along the way, be prepared for them. Don't be discouraged, modulate your load, do a little bit less on days or weeks that are a little rougher, and get back to it when you can. And 3, it takes time and energy to do rehab right. That's probably one thing I see often in the clinic is folks have been doing the right things, they just haven't been doing enough of them to enough parts of their body. So when we're rehabbing a quadriceps muscle, we also are going to look at stability in the foot and ankle, strength in the hip, tightness in the hips or low back. All of those things can play a role in how well our body functions or performs with this quadriceps injury. And treating those other parts of the kinetic chain are going to help our quadriceps function even better, sooner, more quickly, more comfortably, you name it. So pay attention to the whole kinetic chain and put the time in to do it right. You can watch some of my other videos for ideas about dynamic stability, my favorite hamstring exercises, you name it. I'm going to keep bringing you content along those lines that can give you ideas and helpful suggestions to stay on top of your kinetic chain. And lastly, number 4, if you have other issues going on along that kinetic chain, things like knee arthritis or old ankle sprains, or low back stiffness or pain, or whatever else you have going on, I recommend you treat that as well. Your body functions as a whole, mind, body, spirit, it all works together. It is one thing. And treat everything to get the best results. Now lastly, if it's been a while, if this has been months or even years, work through these steps. You can load this muscle tissue. You can stimulate the repair process again. Often what I see when years have passed is that that healing process stalled and it just needs a little bit of a kickstart to get it going again. And using these exercises is one simple way that you can begin to do that. If you're kickstarting a stalled repair, my recommendation is work out a maximum of 3 times in a 9-day cycle so that you have enough rest and recovery, because it takes energy to kickstart this whole thing again. And you want to give your body plenty of time to process the stress that you're going to apply to your quad to kickstart the repair process again. So I hope that's been helpful. As always, thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time.